I'm really excited to be here again. This is my third year, and I've been in the position 3 years, so I feel like this is like the life of my position has been part of this, being part of this meeting and the partners that I have here. So I'm here to speak to you about Next Frontiers in Soil Health Research. I'm from the Foundation for Food and Agriculture Research, which I'll explain a little bit more about as we go along, but this is just a random aside. When I started thinking about Next Frontiers in Soil Health, I started thinking about The Final Frontier and Star Trek. So then I was on this mission to find a picture that like captured those two things, and I did, agriculture and Star Trek. I found a picture, mission accomplished. I feel like if I could accomplish every other mission in my meeting as well as I did that, I will be like the rock star today. I will feel so proud of myself. So so today the goal for me really isn't a presentation, but more of a conversation. And part of what I want to do is to frame our foundation, our mission and vision, and that hopefully will allow folks that haven't partnered with us to get a sense of the types of things we think about when we're looking for research opportunities and research gaps. I'll present some current information and work that's going on that I think is really intriguing, but by no means is it an exhaustive list, and then hopefully spark more discussion that will lead to action, that will lead to transformation, and then overall betterment of mankind. That is an excellent goal for us to have before 10 a.m. So I think we're going to get there. And with all the discussion of the optimism that we've had, all the speakers have spoken about their optimism, that really just lends a lot more excitement and joy to the work that I'm doing to hear that. So FAR's mission basically is looking at how we can build unique partnerships. We want to support innovative research and address today's food and agriculture challenges. So I feel like we're all in the room with a mind to solve these challenges in agriculture and food production, and almost everyone in the room is also involved with innovative science. What FAR brings to the table is those unique partnerships in order to help to advance that research. And we believe that by accomplishing our mission, we can support our vision of a world with ever innovative and collaborative science, providing access to affordable and nutritious food, and then grown also on thriving farms. So how do we do that? We received $200 million from the 2014 Farm Bill. You learned a lot about the Farm Bill in the previous presentation. And the 2018 Farm Bill, we received another $185 million, which allows us to have $385 million. And the statute under which we were created requires that for every dollar that we spend, we have to find a non-federal partner. That partner can be state and local dollars, international dollars, and industry partnerships, as well as nonprofit foundational dollars. So we use that in order to double the taxpayers' investment to bring together diverse groups to solve big challenges through collaboration. So if you want to really get an idea of what FAR and who we are and what we do, partnering to solve challenges, doubling investment, if not more so. We double, but we hope we can over double that just to increase funding. And we do that through our challenge areas, which are basically our strategic research priorities: next generation crops, advanced animal systems, urban food systems, health ag nexus, and sustainable water management, and then soil health, which I'll spend more time talking to you about. And if you have interest in any of these other areas, please find me, and I'll be happy to connect you with the program director that manages that particular portfolio. We believe that by focusing our efforts on these 6 key challenge areas, we can achieve thriving farms, environmental resilience, and well-being. And I would say pay attention to those 3 words at the bottom of the screen. They're going to come back. You don't have to memorize them, though. And the paradigm that we use in order to do this is we look for those novel research partnerships. We want to work efficiently and nimbly to address emerging issues. We leverage public dollars with private dollars to expand research impact, and then we want to fill research gaps. So how effective is our model? Even though we were created in 2014, we were not fully staffed until 2016. So since 2016, we've awarded 100 grants with a 1 to 1.25 match ratio. $200 million of funding have been awarded or is in the pipeline, meaning it's been allocated. And 89 million of that is in soil health. I got those numbers last night. I was really excited because I feel as though that speaks to our organization's commitment to soil health, and that over almost half of our investments have been in the soil health space, and we continue to prioritize soil health in that way. And how do we do on our partnering? So since 2016, we've had over 300 distinct partners. You'll recognize some of those names. This is by no means the full list, but just a number of the partners that we've had. And I bring our paradigm back up because I think sometimes we want to think about like why FFAR funds in the spaces that we do. And so we are looking for research gaps. We were created to be complementary to USDA and not duplicative, but also we partner with NSF, we partner with NIH, we partner with all these other federal partners to ensure that we're filling those research gaps, the gaps that do exist, and those things that create novel partnerships and will leverage those private dollars. So some of the things that we may look for are those opportunities to do that. And also we want those opportunities where we can have quick, if possible, impact on emerging issues. So that then means we gravitate towards new paradigms or disruptive technologies. We may gravitate towards projects that talk about scale or intractable issues in a particular industry. And we also are very interested in tech transfer and making sure that that research is translatable. So you remember those three, right? They're back again. And the reason that they're back is I've been doing a lot of strategic planning in our organization. So it's just a mindset of wouldn't it be interesting to present all the things in our portfolio around thriving farms, environmental resilience, and well-being. So you just bear with me at what happens at like 3 a.m. when I'm doing a presentation. After I've been in strategic planning all day, this is what the presentation will look like. So when we think about thriving farms, the information I'm providing on this slide is just a little bit of background framing that I'll use. It's by no means all the things I think about, but I do think about the fact that current farm debt is the highest point since 1980. Food prices, while they have increased about 5 times, but to farmers that has not increased as much. And then as you invest in soil health, you can result in a multitude of co-benefits, economic resilience and job growth being just 2 of the multitudes. But one of the things I also think about in thriving farms is things around profitability, productivity, economic resilience, efficiency. So some of the things that are happening that I'm really intrigued by, and I think it would be exciting to look at and see where they're going to go, is the Ecosystem Services Market Program, looking at voluntarily encouraging farmers to change their production systems to increase carbon sequestration and retention and improve water quality and conserve water utilization. There's some interesting things happening with Indigo Ag, specifically in the space of encouraging and empowering the next generation of agriculture innovators. I haven't seen that as much, and I'm really excited to see what happens there. And then also the USDA work that was just mentioned in a previous presentation, but really excited by providing additional funding for technical assistance and incentive payments. So there's quite a bit of work going in this space, but there's always room for more opportunities. So what more would be needed? We know funding, public-private partnerships, adoption, a gambit of things. So I would say this is a list of some of the things I think are needed, but we could probably have more of those. If you come up with more, find me and let me know. We can talk about that. But I do think some of it is additional industry investment, looking at decision-making tied to climate and soil management specific information, creating even stronger systems of incentives, thinking about ways to encourage farmers to develop more resilient and adaptive strategies in land management. These are just some examples of the things I think could be necessary. But specifically at FFAR, some of the things that we are interested in, and I would say these are spaces we have not funded in, but we would like to, are things thinking about a fully functional ecosystem services marketplace, or benefits of sound soil practices, investment in overall understanding of economic, environmental, and social investment opportunities. And finally, one thing that we're really excited and interested by, which you'll hear more about from Dr. Libby Porzig, is looking at trying to connect ecosystem services to grazing lands. And I think there's a real space for transformation in strengthening that link between stewardship and sustainable grazing land management. So I'm excited to hear her talk. The next area that we talked about was environmental resilience. And that's just thinking about a little bit of what you heard earlier as we think about increases in heat and drought, with soil erosion, as Wayne talked about, with intense precipitation. That all creates environmental issues and producer uncertainty. But all stakeholders in agriculture, in fact, everyone in the world, benefits from increased resiliency and quality in our food chain. So some of the work that I'm intrigued by is work that's been happening at the Fertilizer Institute. We partner with them to do work in looking at how to quantify the impact of nutrient management practices on crop yield. The Soil Health Initiative, which is led by the Soil Health Institute, is doing some great work in measurements and metrics, among other things. And I've gotten a chance to meet some of their team doing that work, and they are absolutely inspiring as like the next generation of leaders in this space. The work done by Soil Health Partnership and looking at on-farm traditional research, as well as the work done by TNC, looking at expanding adoption of soil health practices and metrics. All these things are really exciting, and the fact that they're collaborating together, it's really one of the things that I'm most proud of that I had a chance to participate in as a partner. And finally, there's some great work going on through TNC and other funders looking at Optus. And the thing I'm interested in about here is looking at how you can take tools that can analyze remote sensed images, but then link them to practices and try to draw that link and use remote sensing and other tools in an effort to do that. So these are just things that by no means all I'm excited about, because I think everybody that knows me knows I get excited about all things in this space. But I'm just trying to highlight some things that I think would be intriguing. Some of the things that I think would be needed, one of the things I came across was this concept that food production and environmental protection need to be treated as equal parts. And I think that leads me to think about a recalibrated vision for ag productivity, moving beyond simply yield-based, but thinking about how we can couple food production and environmental progress, also looking at those quantitative targets for that, field level management, more efficient nutrient management. I'm really intrigued by the need for better understanding of microbiome and its potential, which Dr. David Knabel will speak about, and scale, which Dr. Alex McBratney will speak about. And some of the specific areas we're interested in at FAR, again, areas we've not funded in, but we're moving towards that space: climate smart or regen ag, nutrient management. I'm intrigued by biostimulants. They're in the Farm Bill in 2018. So what research is needed to support that? Fertilizer microbe connection, accelerated innovation, precision ag, and also flexibility in practice. Those are some things that we're intrigued by right now. And finally, well-being, which I think is really exciting. This connection between food systems, how they impact the environment, but also how resilient ag, sustainable ag can impact human health. I found an interesting quote: microbiome technology has this potential to minimize environmental footprint, but at the same time sustainably increase quality and quantity of farm produce with less resource-based inputs. So how can you delve more into that space? And then healthy soils means healthy people, and how can we draw that connection? There's some interesting things that are happening. I'll just highlight Rodale Institute. They're doing some work in conventional and ag produce. They're looking at nutrient density over 20 years, which is interesting to me, the 20 years piece. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is investing $100 million over 4 years, looking at tools to study human and agricultural microbiomes. There's work in the University of California, One Codex, BioCollective, and the University of Michigan. And then in 2020 appropriations minibus, there was another $10 million through DOE to the National Microbiome Data Collaborative. So there's some really interesting work that's happening, but always more work is needed. So thinking about that, I think looking at shifting away from curative and preventative health, trying to focus on improving human health and protecting of plants, looking at diverse food systems, understanding unique properties useful not only as food ingredients, but more nutritious alternatives, thinking about mechanisms linking management to nutrition. Some of these I got from our soil health, human health meeting, so Rain will recognize some of them because they're really interesting. And also there'll be additional discussions on, there needs to be additional research on soil health practices, on impact in human wellness and economy, and Dr. David Collier will speak more about that. So the things I think that we're focusing most on at FAR is looking at nutritious alternates to ingredients that also could be climate resilient. That's under our Health Ag Nexus Challenge area. There's an initiative called Harvest for Health. And so if there's interest in that, please see me. Definitely, we've been in conversations with ASM and other federal partners and foundational funders on the microbiome and its impact on human health and how we could play a part in that. And then also in conversations with NSF and other federal partners, there's a lot of interest in development of sensors and models relevant to ag applications and how we can detect the microbiome and what's really happening under the soil. So those are some spaces we hope to invest in. So I'll leave you with this. To date, agricultural technology has not really had its disruption, right? There's no technology that has displaced existing technology and shaken up the industry, but we're at the cusp of a scale and technology change that we've not seen before in the ag sector. But I think beyond disruptive technologies, I'd just like to see disruption in partnerships, disruption in the way we disseminate information, disruption in how we engage with farmers, disruption in just how we work together. So I think that's the space is so ripe for that type of disruption. And so, but then, how do you know you've arrived? How do you know you've made it? So the question I leave with everybody today is, when you think about this evolved food system, this disrupted process, what does it look like when we get there? What does that feel like? How would that work? I don't have the answer to that. That's just what I think about a lot more often than I'd like to admit, because I don't sleep a lot. And so I guess I'll leave you with just, I hope we can find ways to work together, to partner more, to spur innovation. And there's my information. You can also just grab me. People that know me know I will talk to you. So please don't hesitate to grab me if you want to talk a little bit later. Thank you so much for your time.